Hello, this is Lisa Hazard and Misty Lure with We're All Psychic. And today we have another very special guest. Her name is Stephanie. Stephanie, would you like to say hi?
Hello.
Hello. And Misty, would you like to ask the question?
I do. Stephanie, do you think we're all psychic?
That's a tough one for me because I don't feel like everybody is psychic. I mean, maybe there's the potential there, but I feel like, they don't tap into it or they're not open to it.
Yeah.
So, and for years I wasn't open to it either. Right. I didn't know anything about, I never thought I was psychic, but yeah, so I feel like certain people definitely have more of the ability to do it, I guess.
Just naturally inclined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you were saying you didn't always believe in or think about it that way, the way you do now. Maybe it's different. What was different before than how you feel now?
Well, it was like about 4 years ago, and I kind of had this like spiritual awakening. I'd been drinking quite a bit, and then I decided to stop, and I got into the spiritual program, and so that kind of opened my eyes to spirituality. And then, the funny thing about that sort of thing is that, I'm into this now, but then I look back on my life and I'd always been into it. I just didn't.
Yeah.
And I remember little things here and there of, how I got into it, So, signs and messages that I got all through my life that I, at the time seemed like, oh, cool, but, looking back, it's like, yeah, I always had it.
Yeah. Was there like a moment, or was it kind of like a period of time that you felt like went from one to the other, where you're like, oh, this is like everyday stuff. This is what I've been doing. Or was it like a process, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like an actual moment, or was it kind of like you grew into feeling that you realized
I sort of grew into it. So what happened was I'd actually fallen in love with this person. I kind of became like obsessed. And so I started messing around and I was unemployed at the time. So I had like lots of time to kind of mess around, and so I wanted to know what he was thinking. So I thought, well, you know what? I could totally buy some tarot cards and find out. And so I started to like doing tarot readings like every day. I was like, okay, what's he thinking about me today? What's going on today? And so pretty soon, and I was just looking up the card meanings and stuff, and getting books on it and all this and reading things. And so pretty soon I knew what every card meant. And, because every single card had come up around this person. So, so I just, so basically I thought one day I was like, yeah, I could probably do this,
And did you start reading for other people then and just try it out?
Like friends and things like that, for free.
Yeah. And you nervous at all, or did you feel pretty confident in the beginning?
When I started out, since I knew all the card meanings, that's what I told them. I'd be like, I'd get like, oh, 3 of Wands. Well, this means progress. And I wouldn't tell them what it meant to them,
Right.
Like, well, this means overcoming obstacles,
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, I wasn't really getting into it. I was more just knowing what the cards meant. But I mean, that's how you start, Yeah. And it didn't really, the ping that I get wasn't quite there at first.
What's the ping? What do you mean by the ping?
Well, that's what I call it when I'm reading for someone, and then it just, boom, there it is. It hits me what it's talking
about. I like
about.
that word, the ping.
Yeah. It's like, ping, and I even tell my clients, I'm like, oh, I just got the ping around this. Okay. That's what this means, and they're like, oh, wow, you're right. Blah, blah, blah. So from whence does it come from? I don't know, but it's there, right? So
yeah, I get the feeling in my chest, like I got a trivia question right a lot of the time, like when I know. It's like, especially if he loves her or she loves him or something. Yeah, that's really
like, yeah. You look at it, you're like,
you.
That's it.
Yeah, I love to tell them that. Like,
yeah, it hits like a ton of bricks when you figure it out.
So you have an interest in angels. I'd love to hear about what brought you to that, and or has it always been there?
Always been there, actually. When I was like, how old was I? I was like 8 years old, I think. And my mom had these like long 70s nightgowns. Remember those kind of flowing? Yeah.
Yes. My
Yeah.
mom had the high
Yeah.
waisted and
Yeah, the high-waisted stuff. And so I went and got in her drawer and I got this nightgown one day, and I was playing with my brother, and I walked in and I said, "Hello, I'm Gabriel the angel." And it was like, it was weird. It was like I was channeling
yeah.
Gabriel, because it was totally unlike me. I was never nice to my brother. I didn't want to help him with anything.
You had a
And
message.
yeah, so, I felt like, and so looking back on it, I felt like I was actually channeling, angels back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
So that's why I just feel like, yeah, they've been with me a long time. But the reason I got onto angels like really hardcore later on was because I got a reading, and she pulled up Archangel Uriel, and she's like, "Oh, well, Uriel, do you know who that is?" And I said, "No." And she's like, "Well, he wants to work with you." I'm like, and then she said that, I'm like, "Well, what does she mean, work with me? What's he want to do?" So
give me a job. Like, do we give me
so I started,
money and I
chatting
work
with Uriel. Yeah. So, and then I felt like better, protected or something. So
and you started like reading and studying into it, or did you feel it
and
around
just
you?
looking.
Or? Oh,
Yeah, because
cool.
he's about communication, and also too, Gabriel is also about writing. And so it is kind of interesting to, have met Gabriel at such a young age, because then I became a writer later on.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So
I love
like,
that.
what's the last experience you had with an angel recently? Like,
Oh,
is it
this
just
was cool.
before
It
the
just happened.
podcast? Yeah.
No, it happened last night. Or was it this morning? I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, it was just recently. But I was in the bathtub, so I don't know if you guys get great ideas when you're in the bathtub or
I do
stuff
in the shower.
like that. And so I was doing that, and I just asked for some healing, from Archangel Raphael. I'm like, can you give me some healing? And also too, I speak light language, so I don't know if you know what that means.
No, I don't know what that means.
I do want to know what that means.
I do want to know what that means. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how that came about too. But anyway, so I was kind of talking in the light language and asking Raphael to come in. And then I closed my eyes, and then I, kind of did my Reiki, because I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. So I was kind of doing that stuff. And then I woke up, or not woke up, I opened my eyes, and then the room was green. There was a green cast, and, his color is green, of course.
Yeah. And for listeners who might not know this about angels, like, they usually present as a color, as the color they are, like what they do too.
Yeah.
And in some way, like Misty and I actually were talking about that too last night, and she was saying she remember. You want to talk about that, Misty? Like remembering seeing the lights.
I remember when I was probably about 5 or 6, and I remember my mother coming in to tuck me in, and I would look up and see like these little like a tiny balls of light, almost like when you look at the light too long and then you look somewhere else and you still kind of see flashes of the light, but there was no light on.
Yeah.
And I would tell my mom, those are the angels. And my mom would just look at me in her nightgown. and she'd be like, okay, night. And looking back, I think, well, that really was an experience,
I think it was too, but she said there are the lights, and we talked about that last night. They usually do present as lights for people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole time you were talking, Misty. Your pupper there was being so freaking cute. I wish you had seen that. Your dog turned around, and the face was just so, it's like half the face all up close. It was just so cute. Like you were talking about angels, and there's one right there,
I know.
right? It was like,
my
oh
baby.
my gosh, I just want to get that. Oh, I want to get that face.
I know. That's so sweet.
That was really cute. So, Misty, you have some questions. I am sure you have questions.
Yes, I would like to know how you see angels.
Like, how do I see them? Like in a physical form, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think here. Now I'm being put on the spot. But I've had a lot of experiences like that. Like sometimes, I'll just say, hey, can you give me a hug or something like that, and then I'll just feel this. I feel like a hug,
Yeah.
And what else? Why is it I can't. I say I knew this was going to happen, that I wouldn't be able to think of like,
It happens. That's most of our interruptions are me forgetting what I'm talking about.
yeah, of stuff that that I've had
Yeah.
experiences with. Oh, okay. Well, one time my son and I were walking down the street, and we were carrying a bunch of books. There's these things in Denver that you can get books out of. I don't know if they're probably everywhere, but anyway, so you get free books, right? So we were like taking all these free books, and my son was having some problems and stuff like that, and this guy just appeared out of nowhere, and he was like, can I help you carry those? And Danny's like, oh no, I'm fine, thanks, and he goes, okay. And he's like, it's really great to meet you, and look Danny right in the eye, really intense, and it was kind of a weird experience. And then he's like, I'll talk to you soon. And he walked away, and he kind of just, we didn't see where he went. And he's like, oh, and my name's Raphael.
Oh,
oh wow.
And vanishes in green puffs.
And then just vanishes.
Yeah.
Vanished.
And there's just a feather on the ground. Get there. No, that's crazy.
God.
Yeah, that's not.
I told
that
Danny,
is.
that dude was an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's your sign.
Yeah. So it's just stuff like that. Sometimes they appear in like people form, I think it's in the Bible, we entertain angels unaware and that kind of thing.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much Bible. I was raised.
Yeah. So it's kind of, basically, yeah, you could be talking to them and not even realize that's what they are.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to a client one day, and while she was talking to me, she's like, oh, this guy wants to talk to me. Hold on. And he's like, he goes, I'm here if you need me, or something like that, and gave her his number. And he's like, I just really want to talk to you. And she's like, okay. And I just had the feeling, and I said, that was an angel. And she's like, yeah, he was in a white car. And I said,
wow.
She felt that too. Yeah.
Yeah, they can do anything they want. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My experience with angels is that there's just love. It's just love is what they're motivated by. That's all they are. So it's just like, if it's hard to put love in a box, like, but all by itself, it's just
right.
Love.
Yeah. Did you call in? Did you call in? That number? Did you call in?
I told her, I said, well, just, message him and see what happens. And then I said, I bet you never hear back from him. And she did. Never heard anything.
Oh, but she did try. Oh.
But I think they just wanted her, because she was having a hard time, and I think they just wanted her to know that they were there, and they knew that I would tell her.
Yeah. They used you to get the information out. Yeah.
Hey, Misty, your mic's like under a puppy, I think.
Hang on a minute. Let me move around.
That's okay. We were enjoying it.
Lord help me.
I was wondering about the light language. Is that what you called it? Light language?
Oh yeah. So that's an interesting story. So I was working on Purple Ocean one night, and I'd had a bunch of readings, 3-minute video readings, and just one after the other. And they were so broken, these people, and I was just like, man. And I felt so tired, because back in those days when I started, I got kind of tired,
Yeah, that's hard to cram in for 3 minutes. Ooh, that'd be
right. And I still get tired when I do a lot in a row, but I'm more into it now, right? So I was Reiki at that time. I was Reiki certified. So I said, I want to do a healing for these women. I just want to send some love out to them. I'm going to heal them. And I put on my gloves. You get to put on your Reiki gloves, and I did and I said, so I asked for healing in this, blah, blah, blah. And I was just saying, thank you for bringing the healing. And then all of a sudden I started talking in another language.
Wow.
Oh, do you remember it? Like, do you have access to it at all times?
I could do it now, but it was so weird.
I want to hear it. What would be a good thing to say?
No.
I mean, no.
But it's a different language, and you don't understand what the heck it's saying. I mean, it's just like,
I would love to hear it. I want to hear it. Yes, I guess it does through the words. Does the language itself? Does it make sense to us? Can you translate it, or is it? It's just like a love language. It sounds like the love language.
Yeah, I've never been able to
say something. Say something.
Yeah, it was like it was weird too. It was like this kind of. It wasn't my voice. It was a different voice. And since then, I've been able to access different voices and almost different languages too. Like it almost sounds sometimes
Oh,
Hebrew, which is interesting
wow.
because, you think the angels go back, in the
Yeah.
Bible and all that. And so, yeah, it would be some form of Hebrew or
Yeah.
something.
Might be Sumerian.
Yeah.
It reminds me. That reminds me of Sumerian language. I was just doing some reading on Sumerian a couple days ago, and I'm real curious about that culture, And it's like they had their own language in the middle of all these other places that had totally different language. It was the same in some way, the dialects and all. And this was like their language was just completely different from everybody's, and they wonder if they just, the historians wonder how that happened.
Yeah.
It just reminds
Like
me of that.
it just came on. I mean, it was just like I didn't, and that's the thing about spiritual gifts in general. You could sit there and ask for them all day long, like, oh, I really want to be able to remote view or blah 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 blah, and it just doesn't. It's not going to happen for you. It's just going to happen when they want it to happen for you,
and when it's ready. Yeah, when you're ready.
When you're ready, yeah. And so that I was ready at that time. All right, let me try to do it. It's kind of
just gonna do it
because it's kind of weird because so I'll put on. All right, let's give a blessing to Misty and Lisa.
Wow.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
Wow, it feels good just to watch and hear, and just like it sounds beautiful. It sounds melodious, and
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
It sounds different from my regular voice, doesn't it?
Yes, it's like that one was higher, and like, it sounded like a different woman. Yeah, it sounded like a different woman. Like
and it totally, and sometimes men. I'll get a man's voice sometimes, and it's not like I don't feel like it's anything creepy.
No, it's freaking.
It's
beautiful.
not. It's a gift.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So what other languages has this given you access to? Is this maybe like a foundation for language? Do you think, or
I don't even know what it is.
Really cool.
And I could never translate it or anything like that. I just always know that it feels like it's a blessing, like they're saying a blessing, like they're giving me, if I do it alone, they're giving me a blessing.
That's so
whatever.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do your clients respond to that? Do they call and ask for that sometimes?
I've never done it for a client. Yeah, I don't.
Some people would probably really resonate with them if you.
Yeah, they would probably like that.
They would.
Yeah, I've done healings. I've sent like remote healings sometimes, but it doesn't really come up very often. I'm mostly, mostly a relationship reader essentially, and that's my biggest thing. That's what I do. So
I love doing relationship readings too.
Yeah, and most
people I want to get all in there. I want to know about it. I want to get like explore it, like, figure out what's making them tick and help them out if it's good for them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. so yeah, now I'm all sweaty after I did that too.
That was really. I got warmer too.
Did it sound crazy? Did it sound crazy?
You'll hear it. I'll mix it and you'll get to hear it.
No, it sounded amazing.
Really, really cool. Yeah, I liked it a lot. That was awesome.
So that's my little gift.
That's a really big gift. That's really, you've got a lot of gifts actually, and you're really easy to talk to and very accessible for anyone to listen to you and get a reading with you. I would recommend it. And Stephanie, where can people, if they did want to get a reading from you or they want to find out more about you, where can they find you?
Everclear Psychics. What is it? Everclear.
The Everclear advice app, I think, is usually they're just Everclear app. Yeah, it's not the drink. That confused me at first. But it's Everclear, yes, and they are also our sponsor, and we'd like to thank them very much. And so I'll put your Everclear personal number and your reader name in the description. Your reader name is Stephanie, or
it's Stephanie Dyke. Actually, it's weird because everybody else on there. Everybody else there has an initial or a fake name, and I'm like, F you, I'm Iron Man,
Yeah.
Like right on there is my name and everything.
Love it. That's awesome. And well, would you have anything to offer people who might be listening and are just beginning to open up to this, maybe something like what you've been through? Had to in touch with an angel maybe and weren't really sure about it. Do you have a message for anybody who's listening who might
You know,
learn from you?
I would just say, a lot of things, what helped me a lot understand them was reading books. And like Doreen Virtue, before she turned uh, over back to Christianity or whatever, she had a lot of great books about angels and like, how to access them and things like that. And I've done that, through writing, some automatic writing sometimes, things like that. And, just yeah, just sort of be open to and ask for their help. And also too, when you ask for them, when you ask for their help, act like it's already happened, which is what we didn't really talk about the law of attraction.
No,
but
we didn't.
yeah, it's kind of part of that, where it's like, thank you, angels, for giving me abundance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, for your healing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always say
Gratitude.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times, and act like it's already happened. And you could do that not just with angels, but with anything, just sort of act like it's in the past already,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading a book right now, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And he was a concentration camp survivor. And while he was in
wow.
while he was in the camp, he had this vision of him speaking before people, telling him about his theories, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, where I was right then was already in the past, and he, he got out, he got liberated and went on and had, a career as a, psychoanalyst.
It
And
happened.
that sort of
Wow.
Yeah. You never know. And especially I remember being younger. I'm 45. So like when I was in my 20s, more I think this way, I felt like I'd never be out of my 20s. I felt like I'd always I don't know. It's hard to explain, but everything was so intense because it was the first time everything was happening, adult things, big, money problems that are just unsurmountable, stuff like that, where and just like things that never happened, falling in love, this for real, and then all these kinds of things, and they're so intense to people who are that age, and these experiences, I remember them when I was, younger. They were really intense, and so you have a good point about that, like, oh shoot, I just totally forgot what I was saying. I did. My cat is like, he's been doing this all night. He's been like, there's a closet in there, and there's a double door goes outside, and he's been up on Mikey's desk just scratching on the window. Like there's an art desk in there, and he's just scratching, and he's been doing that. It's like, is there someone out in the backyard? And he was howling
Yeah.
at it and stuff, and I don't know
What's
what's
going
going on.
on?
I don't know. It's like there's no one out there. It's snowy. I mean, in Alabama, no one goes anywhere, and that's just really strange. Anyway, it was a genuine train of thought loss.
I think I understand where you were going. No, you were saying you thought your 20s would never be over, and did you like kind of envision the future and like kind of
Oh
get
yeah,
through it?
talking about that. That I had no idea what the future would be like. I had no idea. I never did. I never really. I can't say it's different than what I expected because I didn't know what to expect. There were a lot of big changes. I was never really invested in any kind of path or future really, and I still am not. I'm just kind of getting by. But I did read a Kurt Vonnegut book when I was younger, and it was Slaughterhouse Five. I couldn't finish it. I think it's one of the only books I couldn't finish because it hit me so hard in the boo boo. But that if anyone's a Kurt Vonnegut fan and you've read that book, I think maybe you'd relate to what I'm saying better. But it reminds me of that time travel thing. When something you have a vision when you're younger, and then you kind of live that moment 20 years later, 15 years later. It's such a huge. You would think it's such a huge thing, and you look back, it's just kind of like, well, I kind of knew this would happen all along, didn't I? It's like kind of happens. It's
Yeah,
surreal.
I've had moments like that too, where it's like, you have this random vision, and then all of a sudden, yeah, and this basically before I was, into this stuff, that I've
Yeah.
had kind of things. So, and then they come to pass. So
That's what it was for me too. That's one of the
Mhm.
things that got me to go, okay, we got to put this together. This is not a hallucination. These things have happened all my life and they come true.
mhm.
But they're like, when I think I've talked about this before, but when I was younger, it'd be something like the position of the rock on the ground at this moment when I'm talking outside school, and that is like what I saw in the vision, and then like the next day it would happen. But it's just like it was that moment that I was seeing more than the experience of it and everything around and stuff like that. It wasn't anything that really gave me much information until I was older. It was more like, and then I couldn't stop. I had to pay attention to it. I decided to. I guess I didn't have to, but it was, it was something for me to put together and go, wow, okay, so that's. It was just, I considered it normal, then I considered it strange, and it's just kind of what it is, and I'm happy about it,
Mhm.
yeah.
It is. And also too, I was gonna do we still have more time or
Yeah, we can talk some more, sure.
and in that book, he's basically saying, man's search for meaning. So it's like, that people that didn't have a purpose in the concentration camp just died, right? They didn't try anymore and they just lay down and died. And so he had a purpose. He wanted to get his manuscript published. So he kept thinking about that the whole time he was in there, right? And so that's when he developed his theory about like man has to have meaning. So when I do readings, I like to leave them with something positive,
Yeah.
because I've had experiences where people have given me a bad reading and then I will ruminate on it and I'll be depressed about it and I will manifest it,
Right.
because
Yeah.
and so,
I don't think people should do that. Yeah.
yeah, and leave them with something they can hold on to that they can manifest, and I
Yeah.
feel like they do because they have that hope there. Not like I'm
Yes.
sugarcoating it. I'm not saying that.
No, that's the whole point. There is something positive in every situation if you look for it, and it can
Right.
be just changing the way you look at it can make it positive.
Right. So I
Yeah.
try
Mhm.
to do that every time, like give them a purpose and then they'll manifest it because they will. They'll just have that thought in their head like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna happen. Yeah, that's gonna happen for me. And then boom, guess what? The universe is like, okay, well, I'll give that to you then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
You have any last words for the listener, Stephanie? And thank you so much for coming. And sorry I was scattered here and there.
Okay. Or maybe I was throwing you off. Maybe maybe
Well, I kind of want to have a conversation with you where it's not like a recording,
I know, yeah.
We connect really well.
It's fun. Yeah, because I was nervous about it. I'm like, what the hell am I going to say? But yeah, so
I'm like
No.
that every single time. I'm like that every single time.
Mhm.
But yeah, so yeah, anybody, of course, I'm going to advertise my services too. I have a Facebook page called the Emerald Star.
We'll put a link to that too in the description.
I post cards there. But I haven't been keeping up. That's the thing. I got all this stuff started and then I just don't even, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Haven't done anything with it for like a month.
That's okay. Keep them waiting, and they'll come. They'll be waiting for you. I'm sure. Yeah.
I have 36 subscribers. So it's Emerald Star Tarot on YouTube, the Emerald Star on Facebook, and then I'm also on TikTok as the Emerald Star. That's
awesome.
my.
I have some friends on TikTok. They will look you up.
Yeah. So that's kind of my reader name, but I didn't use it for Everclear for some reason because I think they said no fake names, or I don't know what it was.
They wanted they didn't want like Mystic or something like that.
Yeah, Mystic names or whatever. So I'm like, well, use my own name then. And so, but yeah, the Emerald Star came about like, well, my birthday's in May, so Emerald's my first stone for one thing, and then, but years ago, someone had kind of dubbed me that.
Oh, I love that.
On some website or something, we were joking around. And so I just started using it, and so that's my kind of my professional.
I like it. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I will put that in the description too. I might put that in the title of the podcast.
Yeah, the Emerald Star.
Emerald Star's interview. That will catch some attention.
Yeah,
it will.
Well, thank you so much, and Misty. Thank you as always. And
Thank you.
Most of all, thank you. And I guess everybody have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.